At Tommie Copper, we believe that performance and recovery go hand in hand. I'm Laura Baker, and this is Living Well with Tommie Copper. Real strength comes from understanding how the body moves, recovers, and adapts. Today, we're opening with a pro. He's made it his life's work, turning future potential into performance through movement, discipline, and recovery. With us today is Mario Lovett. Mario, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
He is founder and director of performance enhancement at Legacy Athletics and the program director of the LA4 Foundation.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. I know that since 2009 you started this, you've built a legacy here, and just chatting with you a little while, it's not just physical. For you, it's very much a mental game also.
The game is for the one mental, the physical. The biggest part of Legacy Athletics when I started in 2009 was to bridge the gap between movement, science, and then mental and recovery. And that was the biggest reason why we started. I was watching so many pros break down faster, even as hard as they were working. I was watching a lot of younger athletes get to a certain, plateau and then also become injured or not understand what it takes to allow your body to be able to move. And that's what Legacy was started, to be able to bridge that gap.
Why do you think they're not understanding?
It's not enough education out there to really know, and it's not enough people specialize in the biomechanics community that are training on that side that really understands, because it takes so much time to really take an athlete, break them down individually, and say, okay, you have these deficiencies or these intricacies that we need to be able to work through to make sure that we can maximize what your body's designed to do.
And I think we should start at the beginning because you really have something special. You are a professional athlete, you were a college athlete, but beyond that, you have a degree in psychology and biomechanics, right? So
Yes.
you've really studied everything to make what we like to call it Tommie Copper, a whole human. At least that's what I call it, right? I kind of joke around and say that, it's all those four parts that really make you feel your best every single day. And if one piece is missing, then everything else starts to crumble around it, right?
100%.
So when you started putting all of this together, what did you notice that was missing in the world in order to make it work? And why did you bring Legacy into practice?
The details, was one thing that was missing. A format and a platform to really identify, like, what does it sound like to really be authentic with your body, but how can we assess the body and the mind to say, all right, I want to know what it actually takes for me to maximize what that looked like. Well, on the mental side, it starts with obviously the confidence. Your confidence is key, but without the discipline for everything, then nothing else transfers. On the assessment side of the movement, if you come in pain, well, pain is a determining factor of what we need to be able to identify and what's wrong with the body. But we can do something as simple as an overhead assessment and identify if certain muscles are not active throughout that movement, whether it's your shoulders, whether it's one of the big three, your spine, or your hips. So us being able to identify that through proper assessment, mentally and physically, allows us to create that optimal athlete.
And you literally teach athletes how their body is supposed to move. You think people know that automatically, but really they don't.
Well, part of the reason not knowing, because there's 7 principles in biomechanics. When you actually just outside of the exercise science or the movement specialist, every athlete or every human being has a movement fingerprint. So when you're moving and you're understanding what that looks like to be able to move, even as a novice or a business professional, you just have to get started to be able to do something, in that regard. And you would think we would know. Well, there's so many access to education or information that you can do, but everybody's body's different. Everybody has certain deficiencies, certain injuries, certain things that you have. And there's a lot of great information that's out there to be able to understand what your body is supposed to be able to do, but you have to get started to be able to learn it, and you have to have a professional to know what it takes for your body to be able to.
I love that you say that. I never understood this. I'm going to give you an example. I was in a yoga class years ago, and my yoga instructor was a former professional athlete.
Okay.
And I looked at him one day and I said, I cannot do, it was a specific pose. I said, I see all these girls in this class doing this pose. I cannot get my body to do this pose. And he goes, Laura, you're 7 inches taller than all these girls. Your body's not going to do that pose.
Right.
Let's find an adjustment for you. And that's kind of what you do for all, and not just athletes too, you work with everybody.
Right. So it's a modified version for everything that we do. Somebody that's coming in with a linear build, somebody that's coming in with ectomorph build, mesomorph, different deficiencies, and depending on how much experience that you've acquired. I've noticed that if a gymnast come in, they're just getting started, as gifted as they are and how much they've worked through, their core still have to be stabilized. There are certain parts of their core that just not that way. Once upon a time, I used to want to compete in the World's Fittest Man, that Reebok CrossFit Challenge, but I found out at 6'7", there's no way. You know what I mean? I'm not. It's no way I'm gonna be able to.
You're not going to be a jockey either.
Right?
I hate
I'm
to
gonna
tell
be
you,
in the
Mario.
top 500. You know what I'm saying? No matter what type of condition I get in. So it would be a challenge, in that regard. But you still do the things that you actually need to be able to know actually what it takes for you. But being your height can have its bonuses and has its pluses and minuses.
Now, for you, you were an athlete,
Mhm.
and now you're a coach, but you're still somewhat of an athlete.
100%.
How has your mindset just evolved through the years?
Being intentional with the training, being smarter, listening to my body. That's what we just have to do a better job of. Before, when you was a lot younger and more vibrant, um, you didn't listen to things, when it actually happened, or you needed to be able to do. And then incorporating the things that I think is essential is the recovery piece of it. That is major league. You got to be intentional with your movement. You got to listen to your body. That's the biggest difference, being now at my age versus being 20 years younger.
You talking about listening to your body. Now, there's a lot, you work with a lot of professional athletes, or a lot of professional athletes are people who are hoping to go pro,
Mhm.
right? What about those weekend warriors out there? How do
Okay.
you differentiate in the training between maybe the weekend warrior and somebody who wants to go pro?
Well, I think everybody internally that comes into legacy athletics wants to train like an athlete. The biggest difference between the two is the mindset. Okay, I'm downtown selling real estate and I need my body fat to be at a certain point. Movement and exercise without any intensity is just exercise. When you want to intensify it, to say, okay, I want to reach these goals and these intentions, well, we can just coach them through understanding how important intensity is. That's tailor made for them. So that's the biggest difference. When you get a pro that's coming in, you're not building habits. You're looking at the variances. You're teaching the intention and the intensity of how hard they need to be able to do it, because they have a level of understanding that's coming into the building, and identifying that piece of it.
One thing that I think is very common, whether you're a weekend warrior or whether you're a pro athlete, or maybe you're just somebody trying to lose weight, is you hit a plateau,
Mhm.
right? So you always hear, I remember there was a story about a famous golfer, and he had to go and he went to therapy in order to try, because something went off with a swing, and that was the end of that, right? And then you hear about people who are trying to lose weight and they just get to where they can't get below, and where they get stuck. When you work with somebody who hits a plateau, how do you help them?
Hitting the wall is essential for everybody. There's no such thing as like tricking the muscles or anything. Like, you just have to change the intensity. If you've been walking for 30 minutes a day and you've lost 10 pounds in 6 weeks, now you have to walk 35 minutes. It's the small intricacies of the things you have to be able to do to change the intensity of what you do, so that you always break through the wall. Change the intensity of what you're doing, making a tip to go harder, get your heart rate up a lot higher as you're going through those movements, and increase what you're doing. Now, you don't need a lot in regards to it, because there's something called a perceived exertion rate that goes from 1 to 9. If your heart rate is at a between a 7 or 9, you're burning the fat that you need, but you want to be gasping for air as you're doing that to intensify it. So that's where that popularity of hit training came in at. That always says, "Oh, I can never really hit that
There's
plateau."
a whole gym that you wear a band for, and it
100%.
measures on the wall
Yes,
where
exactly.
you are
Right.
between that 1 and
Right.
9
Yeah.
too. So that's really interesting. When you talk about somebody who's training for performance,
Mhm.
is there a difference between performance and longevity? Somebody who just wants to have good health.
Oh, 100%. So when you're educating somebody on longevity, you implement those details and those small things you have to continue to be able to do to make sure that you can perform for decades, not just weeks. So that performance side of it definitely is a major league difference in regards to the longevity piece of it.
Nutrition that you were talking about and fueling your body comes into play either way, though, right?
Oh, 100%.
Recovery.
So we teach the stacking at Legacy. Your food, your sleep, your recovery, and your mobility. Those four things are essential of maintaining great health, preventing a lot of injuries when you're going through the things you need to be able to do, and also feeling the best and not being in pain.
How do you think that the biomechanics that you've studied and you're bringing to your performance athletes helps in building strength, building recovery, and having that longevity going forward?
Well, if you look at the alignment of the body, and we talked about the big three earlier, your spine, your hips, and your ankles. When you take the biomechanics community versus just strength training, and I'll give you an example of an athlete. Let's just say Project X comes in and they have limited activity in their glutes. They have knee valgus, and we're trying to correct that, right? So once we're teaching them through tempo is major, like being able to slow down, to go fast, and controlling your body. Then you're doing everything in the movements that's aligned for your body. You have a push phase, you have a pull phase, you have a squat phase, you have a lunge phase, you have a twist phase. You have a gait phase. All those are the principles of movements. So you're never doing nothing in succession to get your body all over the place because it's already aligned with what you need to be able to do.
So you're leading me right into Tommie Copper here because I always talk about alignment and how important it is to take care of your body from the ground up.
Hmm.
So one of the things that we've just launched this year is actually shoe inserts. They're alignment. They're orthotics, and it's called ProFoot, and it really helps to align your body. So, and I've always said, like, if your arches aren't proper, if your heels aren't supported, that doesn't just stay in your feet and your ankles. That shoots up your body into your knees, into your sciatica, your lower back. You were just saying it's all connected. Am I right?
100%. You're on to it's a cheat code in not understanding how important your feet are. There are now, I've just begun to study this and learn this, where now most of our athletes have to train with their shoes off because there's a disconnection between your shoes and your feet. I had foot injuries as a athlete, and I had to wear orthotics. So now I'm somebody that understands the importance of the orthotics with the alignment of your feet. 20% of your nerve endings and bones are in your feet. If your foot is not aligned the proper way in there, it throws off what? Your ankles. Now that throws off your knees, then your hips. All that's aligned, in that. So the orthotics piece, Tommie Copper is definitely have with that orthotics standpoint as aligned certain things that need to be done with the feet. I think is essential in the athletic community.
Yeah, it really is important to be able to, and I don't want to compare us to other companies, but
Right.
make sure that, you have the metatarsal pad support, you have
Hmm.
the arch support, that heel cup that's in there,
Right.
and not something that's just squishy and feel good. You do want it to be squishy and feel good, but you want to have the support in there as well in order
Most
to be able to
definitely.
have that
Most
alignment.
definitely.
So we also do a lot about compression. I live in compression wear. I work out in compression wear. I know it's also for recovery. How much do you guys use it for athletes and what you're doing?
It's the ecosystem of sports. It's the ecosystem of performance.
Mhm.
I'm in compression every single day. Um, I'm on my feet all day. You want to reduce the fatigue. You want to reduce the inflammation. You want to increase your circulation. You are in that every single day.
Mhm.
Compression is necessary. There's not a sport you can't watch at the highest level, at the amateur level, where you don't see compression. And it's not just a placebo effect type of thing. It actually is a real thing. Because I've been in so many different compressions trying to
Mhm.
find it. Being a bigger guy, trying to find the right compression or the right fit to be able to feel the way I need to be to feel throughout a day where I'm in the gym for, 6, 8, 9 hours on end to where you need that compression and that great circulation.
When you've been wearing it now for a week, you've been able to compare it to a lot of other compression
Hmm.
companies. I have too. I've worked for different compression companies through the years. Some of them are really tight. They're impossible to get
Oh
on,
my
right?
God.
They're just, I mean, for me, it was like, I can't put this on by
Right.
myself.
Hmm.
It's as you're struggling, you're breaking a nail. That's no fun. And then when it's on, which I know you don't have to
Right, 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 right.
but when it's on, you don't feel like it can stay on your body for a long amount of time because it's so tight. It's too sausage casing, is what I say, and you
I
want to
like
rip it
that.
off,
I
right?
like that.
So when you're an athlete and you have something that you can actually move in, which I imagine is really important for you with the compression wear, how are you feeling the difference when you're wearing ours compared to the ones you've worn in the past?
Well, just how I feel when I'm one moving and then two when I take it off, because you can feel the
Yeah.
difference in the pressure or the circulation if it was too tight or if it wasn't like so
Mhm.
going through certain movements where you're going over all three planes. A lot of workouts that I would do would involve different planes of movement: sagittal plane, your lateral plane, your transverse. So being able to move without feeling like you cannot move has been the biggest difference, in that not cutting off the circulation, just feeling actually normal as I'm walking through and having on just regular wear. It just feels normal.
And do you
Feels
use
part
it
of
for
me.
recovery as well?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I actually work out because I've had elbow issues, and I told them to like tricep. So that sleeve action that you would put on to be able to lift and all that, I definitely use it for that as well.
I hear you love red light therapy.
Oh,
Me too.
cheat code.
Cheat code. Is that what you call it?
It's
I'm
a
stealing
cheat
that.
code. It is a cheat code. Listen, red light therapy is we just started to add the modalities to our in the amateur space, in the professional space, and being able to use red light therapy for the amount of time that we have been able to use it and feel the difference in how your blood flow. A biggest part of reducing your inflammation in your body and not and relieving sickness, and also feeling the best you need to be able to feel. I've always made an attempt to educate any athlete or anybody that I've encountered the difference between essential body water versus total body water. And that's the inflammation in your body. It's a gel like substance that our body's made up of, H3O2. So when you're able to get the red light therapy, you're able to get the saunas, you're able to understand, the cold plunging or all that. The red light, man, it's a cheat code. So increasing that blood flow, that circulation, and you should do it daily.
I want to dig into this for a minute. I'm glad you said you should do it daily. You should. You
Daily.
can do it as much as you want to,
Right.
actually, right?
Right.
Sometimes people will try red light therapy, and the first time they do it, whether they have one of our devices and they put it on, or they go into one of those therapy rooms and they
Hmm.
do it once, they go, "Oh, I just felt warmth, but I didn't really feel anything different."
Right.
Right? What would you say to that?
Well, I'm gonna say connect to your body and give it the amount of time that it actually needs. So when you talking about feeling better, right,
Hmm.
and you're doing things, we looking for the quick fix.
Yep.
It's not a microwave, right? It takes maintenance. It takes time to be able to get through, understanding that. And I think that's just been a wiring that we've also ingested when it comes to how things has been conditioned to us, where we want to feel immediately good, like as soon as we put it on and we do it. If you remain consistent and disciplined over time, you're building the longevity that you need for your body to feel amazing, for you can continue to stay moving no matter what age you are, as you're doing that. And that's why that's why we see a lot of the breakthroughs and the things that we're doing it because of the science that's been the breakthrough with that, with the infrared therapy and other things that's also come to play.
Yeah, I think you feel it when you first use it, but the game changer really comes when you dedicate to it and you
One
use it every single day.
one hundred
And you
percent.
really start to feel like in a week you'll be like, "Oh, my knee doesn't bother me as much as it used to." And you haven't changed anything else. You're still doing the walking, you're still taking the dog out, you're still vacuuming, and maybe it's lower back.
Right. And
It's
I'm a
those
guinea
different
pig. I've
things.
I've tried some stuff. I've really I really have. I really have. I won't, won't,
Should we
won't
dig into that?
right. I won't get too much, into it, but whether it's been, the infrared, the plunges, I
Yeah.
mean, the hydrogen, you know what I
You
mean,
have the hyperbaric
water,
chamber.
I've done it all.
Yeah.
And it's a game changer. It
Yeah.
all works. It can get quite expensive in regards to doing it, but it's so much, outlets out there to be able to get a lot of that done if you want to remain active and feel the way you need to. And you don't need all of that, don't get me wrong. But if you have access to be able to do it, um, definitely using it and try it. Because if you can reduce the inflammation in your body, increase blood flow, you're going to feel amazing.
Of course. I
You're
mean,
going to feel
you're going to
amazing.
feel so much better.
Right.
And I love that you're talking about the recovery tools. For people who out there aren't familiar with all these different recovery
Hmm.
tools, we have the ability to put it into your hands, into your home at a really affordable way. I mean, and they can have red light therapy, so they don't have to be spending $200 a month on a red light therapy
Right, right,
gym or
right, right,
location and
right,
that
right,
type of thing.
right, right, right.
Yeah,
100%.
so nice to see that. All right, so we've talked a lot about mindset, right? The biomechanics, we've talked about the movement, we've talked about recovery, but I think that maybe you should show us some moves to maybe feel better at home if you're up for that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
All right, so we're gonna start with a chest pec stretch.
Okay.
So you're gonna use this wall. You're
All
gonna have a
right.
wall. Just put your arm on the wall, right? And then you're just gonna slide your arm here. You're
This
gonna feel
way.
the stretch. You're up right in the inside of your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And
All the
then,
way up against the wall.
and then if you want to try to advance, you can just open up your arm, getting next to the shoulder, just turning back and forth this way. That's also for your shoulder against the wall.
This
You do
way.
both sides, about 10 reps, 2 to 3 sets. Yep.
And then you turn it, but do you do both directions? Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
do
Yes, ma'am. So both, then you come down and you come back up.
ideally up against a wall so that
Yep,
it
literally.
keeps
So
your
you'll be
arm?
against the wall. Yep. So you can keep your posture in line, chest open where you don't open up, hips in line, and you just come here, turn, and then back.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And then that's for your shoulders and your chest. Then come on and join me. Sit your
All
butt
right.
on the ground.
Okay.
Get on down here on this floor.
Yes, sir.
Put one foot in front of you, just like this. Other foot behind you.
We
Now
call
you,
this the mermaid
yeah.
stretch.
So this is a 90-90 stretch. It's
Oh, all right.
for your hips. So y'all cross your arms to advance it a little bit. Then you want to open up your hips this way,
Ah,
back and forth. 10. Now, if you want to advance it to challenge yourself a little bit more in the hip, you just come up like this.
I think there is a,
Yep, back down. You just come on up,
all right.
and you'll feel that right into that hip, deep into that hip. You just keep turning back and forth this way.
Have you seen that social media video where all the women are trying to get up off the ground without touching their hands on the ground?
Oh yeah, see for me. I think
That's what this reminds
I
me of.
think I'm a little limited in that. You know what I mean with my height. You know what I'm saying. So I much rather just use my strength and just do just like this and get on up. Then I'm gonna help
All
you up.
right.
Come on up.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am. Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
that,
Of course.
Mario. All right, tell me about those two stretches that we just did and why they're good for people. Let's start with the shoulder one first.
The shoulder and the chest. I mean, the open up your full body. You just do those two. That just gives the foundation of your body. Gets your body moving. Creates a little bit of blood flow in regards to the hips. And open it up. And if you want to advance and to challenge it, but it's mobility. Anything enhancing your mobility is going to open up your body.
And do you find that that's something, an area of the body where a lot of people across the ages struggle with?
100%. Mobility is something that is not worked on enough.
Mhm.
So the more mobile you are, that's why you see the popularity in the Pilates world and the yoga world. So if you don't want to just do something on the basic side, when you want to be a little bit more mobile, touch your ankles, touch your hips, touch your shoulders, and you at least get the movement, on that.
And then the 90-90 stretch.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me about what are the benefits of that?
The benefits is just literally just opening up your hips and getting a lot more flexible in your hip
Okay.
flexors and also in your hip alignment.
Does that help the sciatica and lower
100%.
back?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Yes, ma'am.
like we were talking, it's all connected.
All connected.
Absolutely.
So the
Yeah.
nerve endings, the joints, the tissues, all of them, they say, oh, thank you.
You know what I think it helps with is when you're on the floor playing with the kids and trying to get back up on the sofa. You do that more regularly, it'll make it easier, won't
Yes,
it?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's gonna allow you to move a
Yeah.
lot more efficiently too. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something that is needed, in regard. And then also people don't realize if you have that lower back pain,
Mhm.
something that's affiliated with your hips are typically tight. So
Mhm.
keep your hips, more mobile and more loose, so you to eliminate that lower
So
back
that
pain.
90-90 movement back and forth
Yes, ma'am.
is what really helps to
And yeah,
loosen that up.
that's just one of them. There's so many other, hip movements that you can actually do to
Mhm.
increase that. But that's one basic one that you could do along with the stretch. You want to hold your stretch about 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay.
And then just do 2 to 3 sets of those two on a daily basis, and your body will feel that much better.
If we've got somebody with some mobility issues, maybe they're a little bit older and they can't quite get on the floor, can they do that 90-90 movement maybe in bed?
100%. So what they would typically do instead of what they would still stay in the same position, they would just pick their leg up just like this. So the
Oh,
leg will just pick up. So now you're still hitting that side, but it's a
okay.
modified version to be a little less challenging, having to be able to open up back and forth. And you
Okay.
just switch the leg, hold it in a static position, and just pick your leg up.
What are some of the biggest challenges you think, and when you're working with people in longevity in order to feel good?
I think the biggest difference is one getting them to believe that it actually exists because they've been in pain for so long. Then once you start to get them to trust you in regards to the things that you're doing, then now they start to say, "Oh, I'm feeling that much better," or "Oh, I've done this." So if you look at like obviously an athlete comes in and they want performance, so we do a baseline testing and see where they at. 3 weeks later, they're jumping higher, they're feeling good, they're like, "Oh, I'll do anything."
Mhm.
With someone that's on the more of the professional side that's looking to feel a lot better, you have to kind of dig a little bit deeper in that regard to say, okay, how long have you been feeling this amount of pain? Okay, these are the things that we have. Now let's try this because these are the deficiencies that we see. Now let's work through this so that you can be pain free. That's the determining factor of how your body's actually going to move. That pain gives us say, okay, the first thing I'm looking at is how you're moving in pain. That's the test and say, okay, now we now have to be able to change a few things to get out of pain because nobody wants to walk around and be in pain. Your body should not be in pain at all.
I agree with you. At Tommie Copper, we're a pain management company, and we try to help with the recovery with all the different things that we're bringing to market. And so many people think, oh, I'm in pain. I have to live with this pain. You do not have to live
No.
with pain. There are tools out there are wearable wellness out there, and there are exercises and movements that you can do in order to start to feel better.
And I also think there's a mental block on, we touched on earlier about wanting it to happen quickly. You know what I mean? Or taking something that's going to get rid of the pain. We want it to be a longevity thing. We don't want it to be a temporary thing. We want to treat the solution, not the cause. So when you're looking at, getting and feeling better, you have to be very patient. That's one of the, if you like the patience and saying, okay, I want to be able to do this, then you have to make sure that you're doing it over a certain amount of time because it takes some time sometimes depending on the levels and the degrees of where you at, in pain. But as soon as you start to do the things that's necessary that we know that works, whether it's the modalities, the infrared, all the compression, everything that comes into play, you're going to feel better.
So, Mara, if you had one piece of advice for people out there in order to feel better every single day from your perspective, what would it be?
I am the biggest proponent of starting small. Be intentional. Start with just 10 minutes a day.
Mhm.
Just move. And that's the biggest thing if you want to feel better. Find something, get up every single morning, give yourself a mantra. My biggest thing is I like to say I'm about to have the best day of my life. I feed my subconscious mind and reset my nervous system every single day. And I think that's the biggest thing. Just move. I don't care. And create and set intentions and goals that are so small that you cannot fail so that you can stay consistent. Discipline is the driver of everything. The motivation phase is one thing that oversees it all is that if you have to be disciplined in doing that. So just move, be intentional with your movement, and you're going to feel a lot better.
If folks at home want to find you, where can they go?
DoItForTheLove.com is our website. Legacy Athletics 813 is our Instagram. Legacy Athletics is our Facebook as well. We're located on 5135 West Cypress Street, Suite 103. Been in that building now for about 11 years in Tampa, Florida. Yep, 33607. And we are somebody that we're a boutique. We specialize in what we specialize in. I am very passionate about what I do. Been in this game now for 15 plus years. Love it. And it's not just height, it's just work. You know what I mean? You work at it, you stay consistent, you stay disciplined, you're going to feel better.
Mario Lovett with Legacy Athletics, you have been an absolute joy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Keep changing lives. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.